All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody. Good evening. Thank you for joining us for our third virtual Renovation Rodeo. My name is Charles Calhoun. I am the Development Coordinator for Historic Columbia. As you know, Historic Columbia is the preservation, education, and advocacy organization for history in Columbia and Richland County. So we thank you very much for your support in joining us tonight. You're joined by a few of our esteemed volunteers or excellent volunteers with Palladium. Palladium is our young at heart and young professional volunteer affinity group, which consists of a board and committees and has events ranging from right here, our virtual Renovation Rodeo, to our signature event, our Bluegrass Bidding and Barbecue Silent Auction. So thank you very much for joining us. If you want to learn more about Palladium, feel free to ask any questions in the chat. We've got quite a few board members on with us here tonight. And also you can visit our website, historiccolumbia.org, to learn more about Historic Columbia and to learn more about Palladium. So yes, we are here at 2414 Lincoln Street in the historic Elmwood Park neighborhood. Joining us tonight will be Palladium board members Caroline Jackson and Hardy Childers. They are the co-chairs of the Education Committee. Caroline will be helping facilitate questions from home, and Hardy will be, you'll be introduced to him here in a quick second. He'll meet us out here on the front porch. Also with us are homeowners Victoria and TJ Clayton, and I believe Matt Varner is with us too, who is the, I like to say, the mastermind behind the most recent renovation here of the property. Staff that will be joining you, you have myself, I'll be co-moderating with Caroline. We want a huge shout out to Chandler Yonkers, our marketing coordinator, who will be your videographer tonight. And I have his, there he goes, thumbs up from Chandler. He is spotlighted for the whole night, so we'll all be able to follow along with him. And also you had John Scher, Director of Cultural Resources, to give us some insight into the design of the home, the history of these American four squares, and to accompany Hardy in his history of also the exterior house in the neighborhood. A few points before we fully get started. Just want to remind everybody, if you haven't seen yet, we have another virtual behind the scenes tour coming up on February 25th. That is a Thursday evening. That is $10 for members and $20 for future members. Then we'll be checking out the sites of 1643 and 1645 Main Street. Has been a site of some really significant places all the way back till 1868, and it will be soon become the site of Smoked on Main, place where you can enjoy spirited times, high on the hog dining, and an upscale casual experience that combines the elements of meats, oysters, and libations under one roof. To sign on for that virtual, you can visit our website as well, historiccolumbia.org. Post any questions you have here in the chat, or for myself or Caroline to read out to our hosts here on site. And just a final point of order, we do record all of these for future use, so just letting everybody know ahead of time. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Hardy, and y'all enjoy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to 2414 Lincoln Street in Elmwood Park neighborhood. So what was here before Elmwood Park neighborhood? Well, it was a plantation from 1800 to 1842 called Tickleberry Farm, and it was owned by the governor of South Carolina, John Taylor, and his wife, Sarah Taylor. What's a tickleberry? Don't know. There is a Canadian ice cream shop called Tickleberry. Somebody in the 1960s wondered the same question and thought it may be similar to blackberries that at one time grew in profusion along the banks of the close-by Broad River. The name Tickleberry lives on as a nickname for the prisoner cemetery behind Elmwood Cemetery towards the Broad River. And that area where the prisoner cemetery is called Tickleberry Hill. So Tickleberry Farm, Tickleberry Plantation dies in 1842 along with Sarah Taylor, and she splits up all the land amongst her six children. And from these six children, it turns into the creation of Elmwood Cemetery, the South Carolina State Fairgrounds. This was where the South Carolina State Fairgrounds was at that time, and a racetrack. Now, the State Fair moved to its current location in 1903, and all this land at the time was owned by W.A. Clark, Charles Logan, and the State Agricultural and Mechanical Society of South Carolina. That same year in 1903, when the State Fair leaves, W.A. Clark sells 24 acres of his land to the Richland Real Estate Company for the creation of a subdivision. In 1903, again, the other owner, Charles Logan, dies and bequeaths 4 acres to the city of Columbia for the site of a school. Logan Elementary might sound familiar to some of you. Louisa Logan, the wife of Charles Logan, sells the racetrack land to the Richland Real Estate Company. And that month in 1905, they were designating this area as Elmwood Park, which was named after Elmwood Avenue, which before that was called Upper Street. At the end of 1907, further down Lincoln, the residents of this area petitioned Columbia for the annexation of Elmwood into the city. Going back to Louisa, who sold the racetrack land, she still owned the land at the school the land that they donated to the city of Columbia. She still owned it, and she was renting it out to Columbia's baseball park and baseball team for $25 a year. In 1912, she decides, okay, I'm gonna my husband's wishes, and she gives the land to the city of Columbia for a school. And that was in 1912. In 1915, this house is built. It's an American Foursquare house. It was the original owner was Noah and Ella Jackson, who lived here until 1922. They were traveling salesmen. The architect of this house was John Carroll Johnson. He designed so many houses in Columbia, very prolific. We've even done past renovation rodeos at some of his houses. He designed some of the buildings and the horseshoe as well. This was a single family home until 1939. As you can see, there are 2 doors. It was split up into 2 households, and it became 2414 Lincoln Street and 2416 Lincoln Street. A diverse group of people called this house, these 2 homes, a house through the years, from policemen to young families to people being drafted into World War II. We'll talk about somebody who was drafted from this house later on when we make our cocktail. But so it's a duplex for many years. One month somebody's living here, the next month another family's there, and you see a picture of a boy's birthday party from a different family who've moved in. And from the late 60s and 1980s, the African-American family moved in, Martha Ann Bell, the matriarch of the family. And they lived here until around early 1980s. And in 1982, she took advantage of a program the city of Columbia was offering called the Home Conversion Loan Program. And it was a program sought to eliminate the problem of displacement with neighborhoods undergoing revitalization. So this neighborhood was coming back up again. It was making it hard for lower income people to afford to live here. So this program gave them a 0 interest loan if you qualified, but you also had to bring in a tenant who paid rent and who also was low income, and that they would give you the money to make the renovations on this house. And so this house was the first house that underwent that program in 1982, which will bring us to the transition as we go inside of a totally different program, but also helps renovate this house as well. So let's go inside. Last one.
All right, hey, it's John Scherer, and thank you for attending yet another wonderful Renovation Rodeo. Hardy's already given you a thumbnail sketch of the neighborhood and of the house. Here we are at 2414 Lincoln Street, 2414, 2416. And he teed off the history of this property in a really great way, and we're very thankful for that. We encourage questions, as I've said in past programs, so please do interact. If you see something that you'd like to have more information about, let us know in comments, and we will attempt to address those as best we can. We're in the home of TJ and Victoria Clayton, and they are so kind to have let us into what I would say is one of the most incredible transformations I've seen. This was a project that was done by Matt Verner. Matt Verner's here. He tackled this, and we're going to be walking through with Matt and TJ. Victoria was able to escape, and we're going to have all the fun here. And like I said, one of the most incredible transformations I've seen. And I'm really excited because this is the first time for me that I've actually been able to host something in Elmwood. I know that Historic Columbia's done that before, but this is our show tonight, and we're going to have a great time of it. What I'd like to do is actually go outside to come back inside, because we're just reinforcing that whole idea of how this house transformed through a little bit of work to make it housing for more than just one family. And this was an attempt to incentivize redevelopment and renewed interest and affordable living in Elmwood during the later 20th century. Incentivizing historic preservation is something that didn't stop in the 1980s. In fact, it continues today. And one thing that was done to help this project along was the Bailey Bill. And I'd like for TJ to talk a little bit about that as we make our way upstairs, and also talk about the physical transformation that took place, gosh, 3 years ago now? 3 years and change. So yeah, why don't we make our way upstairs, and then we'll work our way back down to the downstairs. Yeah.
So, John, you want to talk about the Bailey Bill for a second?
Yeah, please do, TJ. I appreciate that. And
Yeah,
Matt, when you come up, we'll talk about some of the things that you encountered as the fellow behind the physical transformation of the property.
yeah, Matt will have some fun stuff to share about some of the pictures you saw were actually from this space. It was one of the worse off spaces, but yeah, John mentioned the Bailey Bill. It was a pretty big incentive for us to purchase the house, and you know, it's a really nice incentive that kind of locks the tax assessed value in at the purchase, you know, prior to the renovation. And Matt can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think for us, for this house, the big sort of stickler items were keeping sort of the elevation of the house the same, the roof of the pitch, or the pitch of the roof, excuse me. The two doors were a big thing that they wanted to keep in for the Bailey Bill, and I think the windows and
yeah, we had to keep wood windows and the wood doors.
Yeah.
And all the exterior proportions and everything else
Yeah.
the same.
the siding too, right?
So essentially, you're trying to maintain this character defining elements that make this historic structures and neighboring structures unique and important for the neighborhood as a historic district. And in doing so, you're working with city folks and with appointed folks with the DDRC, Design Development Review Commission. But that process yielded something very worthwhile. And tell us about some of the maybe your first impressions. Let's talk about first impressions. How did you even come to know about this property?
Well, with the help of my realtor who saw it, brought it to my attention, and I saw it. It was a mess, and I wasn't sure I could handle it. Right above here was a hole in the roof from the fireplace that's in the center of the house. And so it had water damage, fire damage, and you name it, termite damage, everything, and a bunch of junk all over the place. So it was a huge mess when I got it.
And so
and
there was opportunity.
Yeah. And I believe there was a fire here, right, Matt? Like 4 to 5 years ago.
Yeah, that was the one prior to this. But if you look through the photographs, you guys done all the research, there was another fire years ago. And this house, the city kept kind of the changing faces of it over the years.
And imagine, Hardy, that was probably because the city was responsible for helping maintain, at least for a while.
For 20 years.
Yeah, for 20 years, 2 decades, the rent and making sure that there were renters here and really doing the admin work behind that initial incentive for the owner at that time of the property to maintain ownership, because that was kind of a big deal. That's one of the things that was really important here in Elmwood, is to establish that kind of equilibrium between new people coming in and people who've been here for quite a while being able to maintain their residency.
Yeah, and I think it was I want to say it was a Miss Bell that did the renovation to turn it into the duplex, and I believe that Miss Bell actually passed away in this house several years ago. So we like to joke, Miss Bell, if you're listening and you're here with us, thank you. Yeah, a lot of cool history here in this house.
Or you were talking a little bit about J. Carroll Johnson and his relationship to the house, and it was interesting. What struck me is really wild was when I was in grad school at USC, I lived on Lawrence Street, and J. Carroll Johnson actually lived in the house in which I live.
Oh, wow.
And that property had been divvied up into a duplex as well. And so that was during the early 1940s, probably in response to World War II. But just kind of that synonymous experience with an American Foursquare. And that property was built roughly about 1915 as well. So it's kind of cool. But the type of house that you see here is one that's not necessarily unique to Elmwood. It's prolific in Elmwood, but you also see it in other early suburbs as well. And suburbs outside of the original 2 mile by 2 mile grid of Columbia, we're still kind of just outside of it, but barely. But when you think about Shandon and Old Shandon and whatnot, so just kind of an interesting parallel for me personally, that when I walked up, I was like, hey, this is feeling a little like home.
Yeah.
Hey, John, we got a question for you.
Yes, Charles.
Since you were talking about the Foursquare and how it fits into the rest of the neighborhood, how does, this is actually a question from one of the Clayton's neighbors, how does the Foursquare, these houses differ from the Sears and Roebuck houses of the time?
Well, the Sears houses and Aladdin houses and other, kit home manufacturers, they certainly used the Foursquare as a form, but they also had other forms as well. So you'd have such things as you'd have Cape Cod style houses. You'd have bungalows, and a bungalow and a Foursquare they're not the same by any stretch of imagination. You'd even have cottages, and so all of these types of housing forms don't confuse a form with a style. Okay, you can have a craftsman bungalow and you can have a craftsman Foursquare, but the form is different. That's the style, really. For more information about that, you can go onto, of course, our website and take a tour of, for instance, the Melrose Heights neighborhood. We've got a lot of architectural information about that property, and it too is a National Register of Historic Places listed district, just like Elmwood.
Cool. Since you mentioned the website and our resources, I do have one more question. Do we have a map of the early Elmwood, Irwood neighborhood? We got someone who lives down on Park Street and was interested in what might have been, what was on the land before their house was built.
Sure, there are a number of maps that people could turn to, some of which are digitized and available at your keystroke. One that you might want to look at just because it's really cool is the 1872 bird's eye view of Columbia by Camille Dry. That's found through www.loc, that's Library of Congress. And if you just type in Columbia and map, it'll pop up. That will show you what lies or what used to lay slightly beyond the northern city limits. Okay, so you'll see the South Carolina Agricultural Society fairgrounds and whatnot, and eventually those parts of what become Elmwood. Okay, beyond that, there's some other maps that are available through South Carolina Library. The Legree map of 1915 will show you a little bit about Elmwood. My favorite map, though, is the Nearensee and Lamont map of 1895, and it's very close to the 1928 map of Columbia. Those are two totally different beasts, but the 1895 one, while it's monochromatic, has a great deal of information, and it shows Columbia on the cusp of becoming a 20th century city, whereas the 1928 map, it's polychromatic, it's beautiful, it shows all of the different districts. Again, those are available through South Carolina Library, University of South Carolina, and you can find those online All right.
You want to look at some of the rooms?
Yeah, let's take a look.
All right,
Yeah, we're
let's start-
camping out here in the
let's start
hallway, but
here.
let's mosey around.
Yeah, let's start here. Yeah, we got a really nice size bathroom here. Matt, was this originally a bathroom?
No,
Or?
it was not originally a bathroom. It's kind of actually a small room that
Oh,
was
really?
extended across the staircase, but the windows, we kept them exactly where they were and
Gotcha.
turned into a bathroom.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's a common feature in a lot of these American Foursquares is that smaller room at the top. And sometimes people may have used them as nurseries, other times maybe as dressing rooms or even an office. And I think that's what you've done here,
Yeah,
straight an office.
Watch your head on the TV.
Yes, he got the better of me. So.
But yeah, come on in. This is so this is I know Matt envisioned it as a bedroom, but it's an office space. Luckily, we had an office that we could turn to for quarantine. But yeah, we turned this quickly into an office. And you can see here's where the downstairs fireplace, if you saw that. I know we'll cover more of the downstairs when we go back down there, but here's where it came up, and it's also on the next room, sort of adjacent, facing that room too. But yeah, it's turned out beautiful.
Now, I've noticed in a couple of rooms upstairs you have carpeting. Is that because you have young children?
Well, I think it was in the plans, but
Okay.
but I will say it works out well because you know we our children wake up early and we hear their feet hit the carpet, so I'm glad it's not hitting the wood because it's yeah, it's much nicer. Yeah.
So Matt, when you were trimming everything out, did you or did you not have any kind of fireplaces or any trim to work with, or was it largely just kind of gone?
It was gone, and this is just something we rebuilt the mantle, but of course the brickwork there and as far as the original, and we just kind of filled it in, seal it off. Imagine this with the cold.
Yeah, this would have been a shallow, cold fired fireplace, and very shallow. A lot of times people say, oh, I can't do anything with it; it's too shallow. No, you can throw in small pieces of wood. You can even burn coal. I used to burn coal in mine over in Melrose Heights. So
Yeah.
Might be a little challenging to burn anything in there right now, though.
Yeah, probably not gonna burn any coal. So next we'll look at our two boys' rooms that share a Jack and Jill bathroom. But yeah, as you can see again, sort of here's the other side of the fireplace here. Matt did a great job filling that in, and yeah, as you can see, it's beautiful. We did a wonderful job.
I think pretty much anywhere we turn, we're getting inspired.
Yeah. This is probably where it gets interesting over here, right, Matt? With so if anybody saw any of the old pictures when the house was still yellow, it had kind of that fire escape sort of stairway entrance, and I believe this is where it came in.
Yep.
Yeah, right here. So this is where that sort of that second story staircase entrance came in.
This was the second story kitchen.
This was okay.
This and that whole bathroom area back there.
We were talking a little bit about the potential of it being a kitchen, and you ran into something interesting when you were trying to mount your towel rack. Can you tell us about that?
I did. So I mounted these towel racks in here for the boys, and I got that one over there on perfectly fine. And I went to mount this one, and I was like, "What am I hitting?" I kept hitting something. I didn't know what I was hitting. It's another chimney back there. I didn't even know that. So because you can't see it from the front pitch of the house. And then, later that day, I went back and I could see it from the back. I could see the second chimney. But yeah, there's another chimney right there that goes up. And so yeah, I don't think this towel rack's going anywhere anytime soon. Yeah, but yeah. So this was a kitchen. So and then we're gonna back into the next bedroom for our boys and get a good glimpse of it here. What was this, Matt? Was this just a room?
This was a room, but this actually, instead of a closet there, was an old bathroom.
Oh, so there was a bathroom there. Okay. So yeah, there's a closet in here with all of our boys' clothes and costumes and toys and all that stuff.
It has a window in it.
Yeah, it has a window.
And I imagine the boys enjoy a sunset, because I noticed when the sun was falling a little bit earlier, it was just beautiful from your porch.
Yeah, no, they do, and they love. Occasionally, our neighbors have their dogs, Archie and Reggie, out there, and our boys love to tap on the window and antagonize them a little bit, get them to bark. But they love sort of a good sunset or sunrise. They don't always sleep till sunrise, but when they do, they like it. So yeah, it turned out really well.
So why don't we make our way downstairs? I think
Yeah,
we've got a lot
that's-
of fun stuff going on down there for us.
Yeah, the downstairs is really the masterpiece. Really excited to share that part.
As we're going downstairs, I've got 2 questions.
I love the exposed views here.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the Nerf bullet up there, but there's a Nerf bullet that landed right up there from my boys.
So one of the things that's really popular with new construction, but it's certainly taken on with in popularity with renovations of older structures is that open floor plan. And so I know it didn't look like this when you got here. So try to give us an idea as to what the lay of the land was, so to speak, when you first entered.
It was a kind of the typical 4 square, which is just a long hallway coming off that door. You know, those 2 doors obviously were divided by a wall there.
For the use of the duplex.
Stairs went upstairs there, and this was just kind of a room by itself here in the front, you know, divided. You can see the beams above where the walls kind of were. And, that was a room in the front, and then this was always a kitchen right here.
So in any of the work that you've done here, when you've taken out walls, did you have to do any kind of supplemental support for the load bearing or?
Yeah, we did. We had to, you know, put the LVL beams up there and everything to carry that, and had to put an additional, you know, some structural foundation to support those loads. But overall, a lot of the exterior framing and all is just the same original balloon framing that was built at the house.
So essentially where Hardy standing would have been the parlor, and then you would come in, like you said, to the kitchen, and there would have been some type of dining room, some rear room here. But originally, the downstairs would have been solely really a public, quasi-public space, whereas upstairs, that would have been for all of the private living and whatnot, maybe a guest room. But you've done something a little different.
Yeah.
And this floor is both public and very much private because you've got a master suite coming off the back.
Yeah.
That's going to be kind of the pieces of itself, resistance, so to speak. Let's talk about the kitchen then before we go.
We do have
Sorry
questions.
about
as
that.
well.
Thanks, Cheryl.
We've got 2 questions.
What do we have?
Carolyn?
Well, you answered the one about how it was divided, but the other question was about it's for the homeowners. Did the homeowners take advantage of the South Carolina state tax credit? The 25% state historic rehabilitation tax credit, that is?
I've been through the National Register, being listed in the National Register district.
No, but I'll be Googling it as soon as this is done. So the Bailey bill was, and we talked about that, and I don't know if I mentioned, but it was significant savings. And as public record, you look up sort of, you know, the price that, you know, Matt got it at and the price that we sold it at, and you can see the pretty big difference there. And so it's a significant savings for us each month. But no, I'm not familiar with that. Thank you to whoever submitted that, and I'll look into it.
It's something that won't work ex post facto, but you may be able to do something in the future.
Yeah, okay, all right.
But the fact that you were able to harness the credits with the Bailey bill savings there is really an amazing thing.
Yeah, very meaningful.
So I think most
Yeah, you'll see the
everyone would
kitchen.
fall in love with this kitchen.
Yeah.
What was kind of the vision behind it when you?
To try to get everything to fit. It worked out pretty well. I think we had to slide that doorway a little bit there so the fridge could fit. And add a little counter space for the microwave, but all in all, it's kind of the same layout. The sink was there in front of the window before. And they did kind of have an open bar area here. It's framed open. It wasn't quite this big, but similar to what it is now.
What were some of the challenges in the work that was done here on this first floor beyond the exposing of the or opening up, I should say, the floor plan?
Yeah, well, because some of the settlement in the house changed. You know, we had to marry up different areas where there was walls and things before. And actually, just there was an intermediate addition to the house. I don't know if we can get to that, but this little beyond this was the original exterior wall here, and I think they did a little addition beyond that. And then the addition I put on was in the very back for the master suite.
So when you came in and you kind of figured out what you wanted to do in terms of the shell of the structure, and then started to pick out the details, for instance, like the shiplap and whatnot, was that just coming out of your vision, what you've done in previous projects, or did you have someone else?
Just building trends.
Yeah.
You know, build it under around here, so it's kind of kept up with more current building trends. And
Yeah.
fitting into the old house framework.
I think one of my favorite details is just the trim work, which was phenomenal. So
Yeah, it was really striking when it came out. I was like, oh, wow. It's that wow factor.
Yeah.
He did it nicely.
yeah.
Well, speaking about a wow factor, why don't
Yeah.
we make our way to the back of the house, so to speak?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, real quick here, we just got another half bath. Matt, I don't know if this was originally a half bath or what it was. But,
I don't know what it was. I don't think it. No, it was not.
Okay. And then we got a laundry situation here, but yeah. Actually, I'll close the doors here because that's my favorite part. But yeah, here we got a master bedroom. And was this layout similar, Matt?
Yeah, this was the second edition I was talking about. I think was added to the house at something here.
Yeah.
And so this is the same footprint.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Yeah, so this is all original, and then Matt added what is probably everyone's favorite part of the house, which was the master suite.
This is a house into a house. I mean, it's a lot of space.
Yeah, it
This
is.
is really brilliant.
It's bigger than you think when you walk through.
Yeah, I will say when I think we saw a picture of a piece of tile either on the listing or maybe you sent it to us, and when I first saw it, I was like, ooh, I don't know about that. Just a single tile by itself, but then when we walked in here, I was like, oh, that's absolutely gorgeous. We absolutely loved it, and this is just a beautiful piece. You're welcome to come in and you can see the shower there.
I love the fact that you got the frosted 2/2 windows there. They're really nice.
Yeah, I did the frosting.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hi, neighbors.
yeah, I did the frosting. Just a little privacy there. Although I don't think anybody got there to see. But yeah, we have a really big walk-in closet. My wife has approved that we show it.
Yeah, Victoria showed me that earlier. I was like, it just kept on going.
We tidied up, so you're welcome to walk in there.
Double vanity, perfect. No one.
Yes, no, yeah.
Fighting over real estate. That's a good thing.
Yeah, beautiful. Built the electricity in there and the vanity. That's awesome. The shower's great with the two heads, and yeah, it's just a really nice part of the home. Really amazing.
So you could very successfully Airbnb this if you ever wanted to.
yeah, maybe. We'll see. We've thought about for Masters Week, maybe Airbnb and getting out of town. But yeah, there you go.
What struck me is walking around the house and whatnot. I would have a hard time not waking up one morning or just whatever, coming into work from work and being like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
There really isn't anything that wasn't thought of. But you were contemplating maybe one or two other things, and I think some of that had to do with the backyard.
Yeah. So we can walk by this way, but so the backyard, the backyard's been an adventure, I will say. Just like a couple things, we've dug up some spots where we planted some planters. There's a retaining wall on that side, and there's a fence space, and so we decided we're going to plant a garden between the fence and the planters. And our neighbors have a compost section, so the soil is really rich. So I'm like, I'm going to plant a garden there. So I started digging, and in one day of just digging out this planter, I came across I dug up a ballet slipper, a brass doorknob, a handsaw, an old remote control, a TV remote control, all kind of crazy stuff. So the backyard has been a fun adventure of digging up clothes, old Miller High Life bottles, all kind of crazy stuff. So that's been fun. But yeah, we do have some plants at some point.
And so not too long ago, you could access your backyard a little more freely than you can now.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see straight through this window. Hopefully my neighbors don't get mad at me, but this is one of our neighbors. They're great people, but that house is rather new. And before that house was there, it was actually an alleyway all the way through from Lincoln to Park. And when we bought it, actually, I don't know, Matt, if it still does, but when we bought it, it showed up on the Google images as that house is not there. And so it was an alleyway thoroughfare all the way from Lincoln to Park. So you can imagine with an alleyway and a relatively, rundown house. It's kind of became a dump back there. So we found a lot of interesting stuff sort of in our backyard. I think that was just a resort of that alleyway. So the alleyway still runs beyond my neighbor's fence all the way to park. So just an interesting sort of concept. But yeah, we at some point we're hoping to add a detached 2-car garage back there with a little space above it. I won't call it an apartment, with a little space above it that we can play around with. And who knows? My wife wants a pool, so usually what Victoria wants, she gets. So we'll likely be adding a pool back there at some point for the boys and for us to enjoy. So yeah.
Speaking of Victoria, you said that she had the kind of command of the aesthetic here.
Yeah.
But there were some non-negotiables.
Yeah.
Very few.
Very few.
You said after 13 years of marriage, you knew how to, promote peace.
Yeah.
Everything we pretty much have seen thus far has been her design aesthetic.
Yes, I gotta say, so Matt gets all the credit. So Matt gets all the credit for the the design of the house and all the features, and then my wife gets 100% of the credit for all the touches, the beautiful minimalist style that she's got going on. That's all her. As you said, I've been married 13 years, so I've learned to keep my mouth closed and my wallet open. Yeah, so she takes all the credit. So I will say, you asked me what was a non-negotiable. I don't really have a non-negotiable, but this piece right here was that was for me. So I'm a big hip hop fan. So for all of you hip hop fans, the Biggie Smalls lyrics were for me. Something she did for me.
Renovation Rodeo first.
Yeah.
And I would say that that's probably a nice way of maybe kind of concluding everything is you walked through the door and it was all a dream. Maybe during the rehab, it could have posed a nightmare here or there.
Yeah.
But in the grand scheme of things, you've got a dream home.
Yes.
And it was thanks to the vision of Matt here and the ability to harness some of those credits, as we said before. And really the commitment, as you said, to kind of go all in and seek out a historic neighborhood and be part of the community.
Yeah, well, I didn't really touch on that, but my wife and I lived in a suburb. Our boys, we lived in a suburb, and we just really felt drawn. We'd always lived in downtown communities. Either we lived in DC for 3 years, we lived downtown Chattanooga, Tennessee for 6 years, and we moved here and moved to the suburbs, and we just felt a draw. And this house popped up, and this is the only house we looked at in the historic district. Immediately fell in love with it. Fell in love with the treescape as we drove down Lincoln. One fall evening. Just loved everything about it. So yeah, it was all a dream of Matt's, and we love it. My wife says she's never moving again. This is it. This is her final home. So that's how much she likes it here. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
It looks perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you.
this is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, she's done a wonderful job decorating. So yeah. Any questions? Or?
I was gonna say, Charles, if our experiences from past renovation rodeos or anything, we should have a few in the queue. So if we have some questions, we're more than happy to field those as best we can. And
while y'all are doing that, I asked Henry Thomas, the bartender at Transmission Arcade and Bar, to come up with a spin on the Manhattan that correlates with this house. In 1942, PJ Daughter was living in this house with his wife, and he was drafted into World War II. He was transferred to Sheepshead Bay, which is 15 minutes outside of Manhattan. And this house was built in 1915. The most popular drink in America was the Manhattan. So today we're going to have a spin on the Manhattan using South Carolina bourbon whiskey, Southern Amaro liqueur from Charleston, and peach bitters from Fee Brothers. While y'all are in the bedroom, I mixed this together because I don't want to make something like a fool on camera, but I'm gonna go ahead and pour these out. Hopefully, y'all got the recipe in your email. I made some of these at home.
Well, Hardy is pouring that out. Gosh, it looks good. Hope y'all were able to get your own ingredients and are enjoying some with us there at home. John, we had a question about, I think it pertains to the Bailey bill, and I think everyone always loves to learn more about that whole process. But and TJ as well, Matt, were there any restrictions to any design restrictions coupled with any of the programs y'all took advantage of, Bailey Bill, what have you, like specifically with the exterior color?
Not with the color, no, but with the siding, right?
Yeah, the city was very specific. It needed to be matching siding, and as much of the original siding needed to stay in place, which we tried to preserve. And there is, I would say, probably about 40% of the siding was able to be saved. And of course, all the windows and doors had to be wood construction.
Yeah, and I don't know if everybody caught it at the beginning, but the two doors at the front were a necessity too. We had to maintain the two doors. We like it. We joked that we're going to put up a sign, at various points and say, friends and family this way,
Not friendly people.
Yeah, solicitation that way, or we like to make fun of it. We tell our boys there's a time portal on the other side, all kind of cool stuff.
Well, you have two boys, you have two front doors.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
They can never fight over anything.
That's right. Yeah. Good question.
Charles, anything else in the queue?
I guess, always liking to promote local businesses as well. With any of the furnishings, TJ, were any of those from local vendors?
Oh man, you put me on the spot. No, my wife is really good at finding stuff and sort of refixing it. There's a hilarious story behind this piece right here, that she found. And she actually painted all that and redid all that herself. But I'm trying to think from a local vendor. I don't know. I will say, so I'm going to tell you, this table was actually, I handmade it out of some of the wood that Matt had left over from the project. I'm just joking.
But that would have been so cool.
It's from West Elm.
With the last one of these rodeo.
No, it's from West Elm. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
You almost had it.
Matt's over here like, what? No, I don't know of any local stuff. I mean, we've only been in Columbia area for about 4 years, and so we brought a lot with us from other areas, but yeah, no, I don't think so.
And suffice to say, if you're staying here the rest of your lives, you'll probably pick up one or two local pieces.
Yeah, we'll make up for it at some point for sure. So yeah.
Question about the door behind you. Is that a pantry?
Yeah, it's a pantry. Hold on. Yeah. There you go.
Oh, it's an illuminated pantry, even better.
Yeah, so there you go. Don't judge us. We have two boys, so we're in and out. But yeah, there's a pantry there, and there's an under the stairs storage space there, which I won't open. It's got a bunch of stuff in there. My wife's done a great job organizing it, but it's got a bunch of stuff that you don't want to see. But some extra storage space there.
And are both those spaces original?
Is that original pantry you meant?
No, that was added. Framed in there.
Framed in there, so it was all just wall.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Are we showing this fireplace yet?
I don't know if you got a good shot of the living room or not. Yeah, so I mean, you saw the fireplace upstairs, and this is sort of the original. You asked me what my plans are. I mean, I think at some point I do want to throw some ventless gas logs in there, if the price is right. But yeah, it came out beautifully. So yeah, Matt did a great job with the fireplace. Was there any challenges around that fireplace or anything?
We're trying to get more of the brick exposed, but it was just so rough. And it just looks so rough. So we just put the mantle there.
No, I love the mantle.
That was beautiful.
It looks great.
And I think this area too, that really showcases the amount of detail work you put in the cornice and the frieze there. It's just
It's very, very
makes
intricate.
a really nice look over here.
Yeah. Solid corner work. Yeah. So I like to joke. I was telling John and Matt that Yeah, I knew that I lived in, the first time it dawned on me that I lived in a historic home, a home that's over 100 years old. It was about a week after we were living here, and my oldest son, Max, was sitting here, and he spilled some water, and all the water just went right there. Like, it's got the character and of the foundation. You don't really feel it, but you spill something, or you drop a marble or something like that, and you see it. But it just makes for good memories and good character.
Already? It looks like you've been at work over there.
Yeah.
I think these two gentlemen worked up a,
Coast.
yeah. Worked up a thirst. Charles, if there are any further questions, we'd be more than happy to field those. Otherwise, I'd say this has been a really wonderful opportunity to meet the homeowner and the constructioneer and the builder behind all of this wonderfulness. The design is, I'm green with envy. I really am. So I love the fact that this is a historic property within a neighborhood that I've always admired. Came in and I immediately said, when can I stay?
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.
It's great to be part of it. Absolutely.
Well, they enjoy that libation. Y'all, do we have any more questions about renovation project, about the history of the neighborhood, any feature about the house that just really stole? Perfect. That's always the necessary question. It's for Matt. How long did the renovation take?
It took 1 year and probably several of these.
Matt, I think what you said that some of that time during the course of the year was that you had to go through several different subcontractors because of you're needing to find the right people for the right job.
Renovation work is different, especially when you're doing some of the major structural things. You have to do the roof and also.
Yeah.
That took a while, and of course the design review process takes a little extra time for the city to approve it. So the whole thing is about a year long.
Yeah. And I'll give a shout out to my neighbors. I mean, the only people who might be more happy about sort of the home than my wife and my boys and I are the two neighbors on either side who kind of lived through, the house sitting here for years and do the construction. So they were very happy to see, the restoration themselves too. So not just us, the whole neighborhood benefited from the restoration.
Rising tide lifts all boats.
Yeah.
Fix a few flat tires.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Well, thanks everyone. We will keep you all posted when we have the next renovation rodeo scheduled. Thinking maybe May. So keep your ears ready. Thanks everybody.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
Awesome. Cheers.
Thank you so much, everybody. TJ, thank you. Matt, thank you. John, Hardy, thank you. Caroline, thank you for the co-moderating. Chandler, thank you for, again, the absolutely exceptional videography. We could not do this without Chandler, so we thank him very, very much for going out there with his wonderful camera skills. Y'all, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Like Hardy said, be on the lookout for our next Renovation Rodeo. And a quick reminder, one more time, we have our next virtual behind the scenes tour coming up February 25th, I clicked away from the link here. Let me go back. Sorry. 1643 Main, 1645 Main, soon to be Smoked on Main, probably what might be one of Columbia's hottest restaurants coming around the corner. So hope you all can join us for that. And y'all, if you joined us tonight and you're one of our future members, we would love to have your year-long support through our membership program. Our memberships start at $50 for individual, and if you want to be able to continue to come to Palladium events like renovation rodeos, and you want to come to those for free, then just $25 more gets you our individual Palladium membership. We also have household level. And it goes up from there. So visit our website, check that out, learn about all the wonderful benefits that come from our membership. And and learn about all the wonderful things, necessary things that Historic Columbia is able to accomplish because of your membership dollars. All of our efforts to help preserve Columbia and Richland County, help our neighbors, our communities tell their stories, stories that might otherwise not get told. All of that is made possible through membership support from folks like you, people who are interested in preservation and history and storytelling. So check us out online, historiccolumbia.org, and see what we had to offer, and we'll hope that you will join us for the rest of the year. So if there aren't any other questions for the homeowners or for our board, then we'll bid all y'all a good night. Hope you all enjoyed, those of you in Columbia, hope you all enjoyed the sunshine we got today and enjoyed our evening here at 2414 Lincoln Street. From all of us at Historic Columbia, thank you and have a good night.